All right, we are live. I'm going to be looking up here for just a moment. I'm going to make sure that we actually are live and the video doesn't suck. And excuse, I'm sorry about that. Excuse the cough. It's that time of year for me. We're going to go through the total process that I use to create a map using DungeonDraft. And we're not going to start inside a DungeonDraft. So I'm going to go to the D&D Beyond site. We're going to download the map, or I'll show you what I do. I've already done the download. I've already popped it into the program I use to go ahead and edit the map, because you'll see it's way too freaking big. I mean, it's insanely huge. And so it ends up that I have to make some adjustments in order to be able to use the map. And even at that, the only other issue that we really have is, and I've talked about this in my Twitch stream when I'm doing mapping. Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Hugo? Tiny, whatever. Sorry about that. If somebody's using a Mac, a lot of times, and even at that, the only other, there we go, it's working. So let's see. I think it actually looks clear today. I've done some changes to the stream. Let me pull this down here. Bigger screen. It does look clearer today. I made some adjustments to the stream so that we took off the animated border. I took off everything that can use resources. So we're actually, I think, looking a lot clearer and a lot cleaner. So we should be able to get a decent stream in today on YouTube. Let me go ahead and share this out. So I've set up so that we'll be able to flip, do the map. Jesus Christ. And see all the scenes. So now I'm not. Let me do something real quick. This one, all right, this one's working. The new scenes that I set up, I forgot to pull in the mic. So that was good. like I said, I was so busy trying to set this up, so I took out anything animated, anything that adds to resource usage, I pulled out. So that meant creating some new scenes for this side. But I'm not seeing many glitches unless we're talking about the camera, so we'll wait and see what happens there. So this map is stupid big. Um, so, and I'll show you the process that we go through. The first thing that I do is I download this. I've already done it, so I'm not going to show you downloading. Then I pull it in. This is my editor of choice now because, yeah, I see the glitching on the camera. I don't know why it's doing it there. I'm not seeing it here. So I don't know what's happening there. That's kind of weird. But this, I end up using this because Wonder, uh, it's not DungeonDraft. What the hell's the name of this program? Affinity Photo. It does almost everything Photoshop does, except it's like $50. So I can't complain about a $50 program that does what Photoshop does without all the issues. So, of price. Um, so the first thing that we're going to do is crop this thing out. All this space here is stuff we don't need in our map. What we need is the map, not empty space. I'm not even going to worry about stuff like to the extended dungeon. We know that that's going to an extended dungeon. So, you know, the hell with that. We're going to go down here. We'll go across. And we're going to make it as small as we can and include everything in the map. I think we clipped a little too much up there. Let's do that again. We'll go just a little bit higher. I don't want to clip that corner so that it's real tight. So we'll do that. And we'll cut it off right on the edges of the map. All right. Oh, what am I trying to do? So we're going to cut. And it didn't do what it needed to do, did it? Oh my God. It's been a while since I've made one, so this is my bad. Let's do this. We're going to clip that down again. Here's this thing. I think my memory is going nuts right now. Look at this. It's let's do this again. we're gonna do this again. I think I usually use designer. That's also part of the problem. I have designer. So let's do this. This is when you have one of those old man moments. And it's like, what the fuck? All right, so there we go. All right, now where is apply? Edit. Apply, there it is. All right, damn. That was dumb, but here we go. So we're going to save this. And we don't want to do that. We want to export it. This is an awesome tutorial, I know. So we'll export that. And I wish it didn't like go and make me do this, but I guess that's fine. Obstacle course, 1502, crop. All right, that's done. We can close this damn thing out. We're not going to save it. We've got our crop. We're going to keep this for the description. And we're going to worry about the description just for the base description. All right, now this program here is called Mapalign. You can look it up, or the way I found it, I went to... I'm not even worried about the resolution on it because it's going to end up being saved again here. And when you're in DungeonDraft, just because of memory leaks and stuff, I do bring it in as a smaller file so that it cuts down my crashes. So that's more of a safety choice, because you know how we've had crashes in the past. I believe most of the crashes have been taken care of. But, you know, better safe than sorry. So we need to find a section on this map where we have, and the reason we're doing this, we create the grid. These are 10-foot squares. It's kind of annoying, but the 10-foot squares are a royal pain in the ass. And we're going to show you the size this thing turns out to when we do it using the 10-foot squares. I think I like that right there. Room 4. Nope, room 1 has a nice solid square right here. What are we at? 400. We can go to 800%. Now, what I've found with this program, you go above 800%, it will tend to crash badly. So I don't go above 800. I don't believe it's a graphics issue. But regardless, the only reason we're doing this is so that we can have a grid that carries over, and it tells us how big the map is. So let's go ahead and draw our grid. And I think it's going to be off just a little bit. See, it's a little high, a little low. Now we will go out and see how off it is. What you want is for your grid to go all the way across and line up, because hopefully if it does, it'll be workable inside your map. Oh my God, if this might, I'm not going to say anything. Look at this crap. Everything lined up, first go. I don't think I've ever done this before? It's all lined up. It's a Sunday stream miracle. Usually I have to sit there and mess around with it. Either keep redrawing it until it works, which most of the time it doesn't. Usually it'll float a little bit because you're off, but we eyeballed that perfectly, so I am not going to complain. This is like awesomely awesome. So we don't want the new grid drawn anymore. We want the grid added to image on save. All right, so now if you look, here's what it does here. And we're going to save both of these. And I'm going to show you why. Now, you have a total number of grids that you can have inside of DungeonDraft. It maxes out at 128 squares in either direction, horizontal or vertical. So if you notice, I fucked up here too on the save. So we need to set this because right now it's at 70 pixels per. Now, that would be fine with some virtual tabletops. If you use Foundry like I do, you have to have a minimum of 50 pixels per square. Now, this is a 10-foot square. D&D is played in 5-foot squares. So once we go in and start mapping this, we're going to have to grid it out. Or actually, once you pull this map, when it's done, into your virtual tabletop, you're going to have to grid it out at 5-foot squares. So, and I've shown this before. I may, at the end of the stream, pull it in and show you what I'm talking about. But you're going to have to turn these into 5-foot squares inside of your thing. At this, it would be 35 pixels squares, and it won't work in Foundry Virtual Tabletop. So you need to set this to 100 so that once it's broken down into those 4 squares, it'll be 4 50 by 50 squares. So you need to do that before you save. Now, if you don't change this at all, some of your Mac users may be okay because that's going to be, what, 7100? But some of these maps come out to where you're talking like 118 or bigger. This map, I think, would work for our Mac users because they have that, is it 8,192 pixels, I think it is, maximum. So a lot of the maps that we've done in the past aren't going to work for Mac users. And Tiny can attest to that because he's come in and tried to test some of the bigger maps, and it just doesn't work. It ends up with them basically seeing a black and white map like we have here that we're trying to get rid of by doing this in the mapping program. Now, I stopped a while ago because I got tired of doing 4 maps per map, but it's going to be up to you. This one might be doable, but I'm just not doing 4 maps to make it usable so that they move from tile to tile. All right, so let's save this. And the reason we do this, number 1 is for the grid. Number 2 is this tells us how big our map has to be, 55 by 71. So let's go in and make sure we didn't screw anything up, and that's saved with the grid. And there's our map with the grid on it. And honestly, I mean, that's good enough resolution. All right, so now we're going to go over to DungeonDraft. And we're going to set that up. All right, so we're going to do a new map. So this one comes out at 55 by 71. It's pretty close to the last one. So let's take a look at our map description. Because we want to try to preload our assets so we don't have to keep going in and out and preloading. So, let's see. Do we have any basic description? Because I like to choose my tiles according to the description if I can. Lava children, this doesn't tell us much. They're traps and covered pits. What the fuck? My mouse is acting up. It's been doing this lately. Let me open up something and fix that again. I think it's pissed off because of this right now, so let's just accept. Why is the mouse acting out? See, over here it's fine. Now it's fine. All right. It didn't like something. So let's see. There are traps in here. Teleport traps. Yeah, splitting the party's bad. We know that. So let's start getting an idea of what things look like. Mostly devoid of furnishings. That's a good thing. I know, that's the thing, but I kind of wanted this up for the D&D content over on YouTube. Motherfucker. Am I? I don't think I'm muted. I'm showing the HyperX working. Oh my god, that sucks. No, I just looked, and I'm assuming I'm not muted now. The HyperX is active in this scene, so that shouldn't even be an issue. I want to see if it mutes going back and forth, so let's do that. So there, I mean, I'm seeing my levels on the microphone working fine here. And the levels are working fine here. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird. All right. Let's see. Pillars, statues, mine carts. It doesn't really say. Doesn't say what the floor looks like. Stones that comprise this floor make clacking noises when stepped on. Well, the weird thing is, too, I have to use a pop-up window for chat in YouTube because it doesn't recognize the chat window inside of OBS as valid. So that's something else. But I guess it's good because I can have the big-ass chat window over here that I can see easier than the little-ass chat window. It's fine. It's all good. But it's not saying what the floor looks like in here. So we can pick whatever we want. I guess we'll be artistic about it. Who knows? I mean, I keep looking to make sure the red dildo is turned on. And it is. Nothing in here indicates anything about the floor. So you know what? Let's go with it. We're going to pick a floor design that we like and take it from there. So here's the first thing we need to do. Let's go into our settings, pull our trace image. All right. Oh, wrong one. Wrong folder. Mage, level 15, and it is the 55 by 71. And the reason we didn't even bother trying to do that with 5-foot squares is it would have been 142 high, and we wouldn't be able to do the map. All right. I believe it's usually 1.5 or 2.56. It's about where it drops in. Let's see if it stays the same. It's always been pretty damn predictable. So let's turn the opacity down. Yeah, 2.56. It almost always, for me at least, almost always sets up perfectly with a scale of 2.56. Now we're gonna take the opacity down pretty far so we can actually see the map just barely and see our background there. So Let's do that. Go up here. I think we want to... The terrain brush is basically going to be what the rock is that's inside there. We'll go with limestone. It should just fill. At least it has usually in the past. Because that'll be basically the outline of our map. Kind of like the background. But I don't know why it's not deciding to not just... Let's take a look at that. And this is stuff, I mean, if you don't give a damn, then don't worry about it. But I kind of like the background of the map. Especially something like this, where it's all just an underground cave. Make the map so it's like stone, doesn't really matter. But it also gives you a nice white background to put all your stuff on. Now I do use a graphics tablet for doing this. You can use a mouse and keyboard, but for most of the things we're going to do, it's a lot easier using a graphics tablet. All right, so let's get the map back on there. And we are ready to rock and roll. Where you start on this really doesn't matter. But we're going to go ahead and start in the top corner and take it from there. So, let's take a look. I know there's one jagged area. A lot of times, something like this. Let's look at 40D. I'm curious. I'm extremely curious what the description for 40D is. A lot of times what I'll do is use two different tools on this. But this looks like it's, I don't know, a crevasse or something like that. Magma Mephits Pool. 6 lava children, 7 magma mephits frolic in this lava pool. This is a freaking lava pool. So we'll have to drop that in later. They frolic, huh? So that's going to make the map interesting. I am tempted to cave brush this in and then add the overlay in there. It's really tempting, but I think what I'm going to take a different path for that. What is this? All right, so let's choose our tiles and start working from up there. So let's see how long it takes for us to get this basic dungeon down. Now, we've wasted time talking, but we're going to see how long it takes to get everything else down. And naturally, we'll talk while we're doing this. But let's see. What do we want for our walls? No brick. How's that going to look? Solid wall it is. All right, so we're going to use that. And then we've been abusing these the last couple of maps. Let's do something different. It's obviously not wood flooring. In fact, let's go ahead and save this. All right, so it's saved. Usually I would start turning stuff off like the snap to grid, but I'm going to pull some assets in, which requires some opening and closing. So let's go ahead and do some of this stuff. We need some tile sets, I think. Because we're going to need that for our lava pit. I don't know if... Yeah, we'll need statues probably. Let's pull in some textures. We'll pull the garrison in. I don't think we need ice. I doubt we'll need that. We'll pull some rubble in. You always need rubble. There's always something broken. Some broken furniture. Furnishings. Pull that. We're still looking for some textures. So we have that texture pack. I want to make sure I have everything. I don't like mixing styles. And that you're going to find with Foundry, you end up with a mix of styles. So you really need to figure out what styles you want and then find assets that match the style. The style built into the game is kind of cartoonish. And I kind of prefer assets that are more realistic. So it's really up to you what you prefer. I mean, you could... I started using nothing but the base assets. You can make some really nice maps. But you just need to decide how you want it to look. So we're going to reopen this map. And this is what you do have to do once you pick your assets. I usually try to pick the assets before I start a map. But we broke that rule today. Either way, it's going to take the same amount of time. So let's go in our building tool. We'll pick our floors. I don't think we're going to go with those. Maybe we'll just go with just a straight... There's no reason for it to look all destroyed. So, do we want that? Let's pick two kinds. There's that. And there's that. I think that looks... We're going to go with that. You know why? This... Too close to the background. So let's go with this. All right. Then we need our wall back. And it doesn't save this stuff. I mean, you can make a save. It doesn't save that. So you need to remember what you used. Let's use that for our solid wall. There we go. All right. So you're going to run into stuff like this circle over here, where we're going to end up having to do some different things, and we're going to walk through all that. But let's go ahead and get started. So now what you're going to have as well, we're going to come back to some of this stuff as we do the map and draw these walls and doors in later. Now that's my personal preference. I mean, it's not, there's not a right or wrong way. As long as you keep your background image in there and go in and check. I mean, honestly, the way I am with my memory, I should probably not do that. But, you know. So this is a real easy circle to do. So when you do it, you're going to start corner, go over, corner to corner. It'll draw a perfect circle. You're going to need to not do that. Come in and bring this into the room a little bit. Now, if you're worried about doing the walls first, you would go down here to your wall. First, let's take a look here. We're using the solid wall, right? So we need to go down and make sure we're using the exact same solid wall. And for some reason, you know, they're not in the exact same spot as they were there. What I'll usually do is give some overlap. See, the double tap, in theory, like it worked there. Sometimes it doesn't work. But let's go back to here. And now it'll remember what you're doing. But if you save and come back in, it's not going to remember. Now, one of the great upsides to this, I mean, as you can see, once we get going, we'll go in a little bit on this one. It goes really quick. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time when it came to making maps, even in this. And honestly, you can do it really pretty quick. I mean, an hour, hour and a half, and I'm hoping this will be done. I assume it'll be done, but we'll see. All right, now stuff like this is where we'll need to turn our snap to grid off when we get to this weird ass room. This room here, I'm not going to worry about the odd shape on the wall. You know, those curved corners. You can do that. I mean, there are a couple of ways you could. You can go in, edit your points, you know, maybe add a point here, add a point here, and then make a curve. I used to be super picky about that stuff. I'm not anymore. You know, sometimes it's just good enough. You know what I mean? All right, so these are secret doors, so you need to create a wall there. And then in your mapping program, not your mapping program, your virtual tabletop, you'll be able to add those secret doors in for your line of sight. If you are not using something that has line of sight, you know, I guess you'd be out of luck. But, I mean, seriously, should definitely be using a mapping software with line of sight built in. There's no reason not to anymore. All right, so we're going to do all these odd shapes after we get these walls in, and I think what we're going to do is bring this kind of like this, farther in than it needs to be. And that way, this should work perfectly. Now, look at this crap. I don't like how that one goes. It's kind of goofy. That would not be my choice if I were actually designing a map. And Tiny, I did yesterday start a brand new character in Cyberpunk. Spent about 8 hours off and on. The wife worked all day. She's got some jackass for a boss who I think he's gunning for her. That'll suck. But there we go. She worked all day, and I ended up you know, we're going to turn snap off for a second. Let's take that up there. So she's got to make sure she's audit proof as an auditor, which is crazy. I tell you what, the older you get, the less you like people, I feel like. I mean, I'm there right now. Her idiot boss has been mad at her and wanted to fire her last year because she disagreed on, you know, something with one of her employees. You know, she's like, no, he did nothing wrong. He was correct, which he was. And this guy just didn't like him. So the fact that she took up for him, he's just like, well, I want to fire her. And hadn't done it yet, but, you know, that's a tiny dicked motherfucker who feels like because someone disagrees that they have to be fired. It's kind of like our soon-to-be ex-president. You know what I mean? That's a tiny dick motherfucker right there. All right, so this we're going to have to do some creative stuff with. Honestly, I think I started yesterday at like 10 in the morning playing. And, you know, I was off and on all day. I stopped at about 8:30 last night. So it was, how the fuck long is that? Like 14 hours I was on, off and on? 10, no, more like 10 hours. All right, so we'll do this, and then Yeah, that's pretty much what he is. Jackass with a little bit of power. And the thing is, people like that should not have. They should have absolutely, zero power over other people's lives. They shouldn't be promoted. They shouldn't even have a fucking job, in my opinion, because they're assholes. But, it seems like fucking assholes, they're the ones that get promoted in life. All right, so I think we need to pull snap off. We need to do this, and then go here, here. That is almost perfect. Dang diggity. Hopefully the door will adhere to that when we put it in. So let's do these little ovals here. It's going to be two separate ovals. And we're going to end up doing this several times because that's always how it works. So it looks like about like that. Not happy with that. Let's go a little high. Not happy with that. I think that's it. All right, then this one, we're going to assume that it would probably start curving there. I think we got it. All right. I want to look at 39C. I'm going to just read that real quick. I'm wondering if those are columns or pits. Whichever one will determine how we make this room. So all doors leading this area, blah, blah, blah. All right, so the doors are funky. Doesn't tell me what those things are. Oh, what the fuck are they? So this level has a play-by-play announcer. As a DM, that's going to be rather crazy because you're going to be sitting there going, all right, and now Joe the fighter just takes a smash to the head and he's bleeding horribly. He will attack back. That's going to be... I'm going to hate running this level. I admit that. I'm not there yet, though. So it's all good. So 39C. So it doesn't tell me what those are. we'll make a creative decision when we start working on this room with the decorations, I guess. And I'm not excited about making a creative decision. All right, so here's what we'll do. We're going to make a square here, and then we'll start shaping in the rest of this. So should be fine there to there. Now, there's that. That. Tell you what, the only thing that's kind of annoying are these weird shadows created by these. So we're going to have to go in and remove some of these points. Now we'll put snap back on for the square rooms. I mean, in this case, it's rectangular, but let's not pick at nits. So we're going to have to decide how we're going to handle this, and I think this is going to be the way. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to have to come in and draw over top to make all of this stuff work. But this is going to create our outline wall. For that lava ravine. Yeah, the doggo cam wouldn't be useful in here today anyway, because they're all laying on the bed since their mom's in there working. And even Tessa, who will whine that she wants to come in, you know, as long as her brothers and all are in there, that's all she cares about. And then she can torment Loki and Thor when she wants, or I should say until her mom kicks her out of the room for misbehaving. At that point, we'll hear some barking at the door and have to let the Bratsky in. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do for the entirety of that, like, ravine area. Oh, what the fuck happened here? Well, that's not good. Look at that shit. See, we had this set up, and then it did that. So let's take a look here. This is just one of those little glitchy things. And I'm going to move my keyboard and stuff over this way. And let's move the tablet over so it's here in the middle. Wow. I didn't even notice that when it happened. Let's see what happens here. See? It does not like that. Sometimes you can trick it by doing sections. Oh, it's not going to be tricked, huh? Let's see what that does. All right, that worked. So what's the straw breaking the camel's back? Right in there, huh? So what it's doing, instead of recognizing that this is a section here, it's let's see what this does. All right, so let me do that. Oh, we might be able to trick it right here. We just won. There's always a way. Now, it doesn't mean something down here isn't going to screw the whole thing up again, but so we basically fixed it by flipping back to snap to grid, making some squares, and pulling it in. And, you know, like I said, it's one of those things that can be a wee bit maddening. But, I mean, I've never had a map totally go crazy on me where it wasn't fixable. I have had some weird shit where the map's completed, the walls are all in here, and then all of a sudden there are lines cutting all the way across on the built-in walls. So you kind of need to quality check the map itself once you pull it into your virtual tabletop. And it's really not a matter of quality checking, it's more a matter of every tabletop is going to treat it differently, and sometimes you just got to go in and make that damn thing decide to work and play nice together. So yeah, that was interesting, making it force to snap. And we're not going to worry about being exactly as jaggedy as whoever drew this, because, you know. All right, nothing weird happened there. Go back to snap. And those are always going to be the little minor things that will extend the amount of time on your map to finish it. It's a little bit annoying. Now, this section here, I think we're going to use the cave tool because it's obviously just cave system. But we're not doing that with this because we're going to use another workaround to make it look the way it's supposed to. And I've even had weird stuff happen, like in an area like this where you've got hallways where it might try to fill in and pretend that, you know, these aren't actually parts of the mountain, that these aren't holes cut into the stone. I mean, it happens. And then you just do what we just did. You find a workaround. Now, if you're really, really worried about having rounded corners, I mean, this is pretty much what you'd have to do. You would have to do, nope, let's undo that one. Which one's my undo? There it is. Do that. Do that. And then you would do this. I mean, I'm not that worried about it to sit there and circle draw. But it's not that complex to do. The only thing it's going to do is this weird ass shit. And those shadows are going to show up on your map when you print it out. So, unfortunately, this is your fix to the goofy shadows. And the more detailed and bigger the map is, the more of a pain in the ass this becomes. So you'd have to highlight the point that you want gone, and then delete that point. And then what's going to happen here is you're going to end up with a little bit of goofy line, and it's not going to be perfectly round. So this just becomes a little bit of a problem. I mean, you could, if you get rid of this point here, that's your straight line coming up. You'd be able to do that, and then you've got to see, it keeps adding a point, and even at that, it kicks off a little bit. So it's just it's a little bit glitchy there. So we're going to have to leave that with a little bit of a nub if we're going to do that. And then down here, you know, these all create a little bit of a shadow, and there's no way to get rid of this here. So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of doing stuff like that with the rounded corners because it creates some odd shadows. It was funny. My wife. So while we're drawing, let's go ahead and talk some stupid shit. My wife has been playing Pokemon Go since it started, right? And I just started back kind of playing because, with COVID, she wants to go out, drive around, pick up, uh, spin, all that kind of stuff. And I figured that, any kind of things to make life easier, um, easier to catch, all that kind of stuff, she would have figured out in, how long's it been? 5 years now, right? And she's always complaining because she runs out of balls. And, I've always got just piles of balls. And mostly because I don't do as much catching as she does. But it was funny because I was watching some dude playing on YouTube. And he uses this weird ass glitch where you basically, let's do this. As it catches, you have your finger on the berries, you do your throw. As soon as you do your throw, you slide that across, the berry thing comes up. And then, as it hits, you tap the screen, you hit the runaway, and it automatically catches the Pokemon. And this is a glitch that's been in there forever. So, I found that out last night, and I'm like, did you know about this? She's like, no. Because last night she was just freaking out because she had like 5 red balls left, 10 blue balls, and 117 of the black balls. And, I'm sitting there with 1,700 balls, and I'm like, how do you go through so damn many balls? Well, I catch all day. Now, she's just going to never run out of balls, hopefully. And I won't have to listen to it. But I thought that was hilarious. That there's a glitch that actually makes your life easy in the game. And it makes it so, I mean, I tested it this morning. There were 6 Pokemon that had spawned around me. And using that glitch, I caught all 6 in like 40 seconds. And it was 1 ball each, no wasted throws. And, I was just like, this is fucking awesome. Now she's trying to master the technique. And there's actually another one where, if you use your thumb, you'll pick the ball. Like I usually use the blues because for some reason I always have tons and tons of blues. So I'll pick the blue and then you put your thumb on there, pull it across, and then you throw, release your thumb. The balls come up, and if you happen to see it's going to miss, you can tap that blue ball and it calls the ball back and you don't lose it and you get to do it again. It's like the throw never happened. So I'm trying to perfect the timing on that now. And I think she's going to have issues with that because, timing's not her thing. That's why she was never really able to get good at video games. She has horrible timing and reflexes. Oh, god damn it. And I keep forgetting I've got quick keys set on this thing for this program specifically. And I always forget to use them. I've finally gotten out of the habit of reaching over using my mouse and keyboard to drag the map around. I use the quick thing, and, you know, the pen is basically your mouse. So I'll have to put steps in there. These are some columns. We're going to put basic stuff in here. I really, really, really wish that I had just like a star symbol to put down, a 3D star symbol for statues. I've got to find one. Now you notice, see how this stuff is like here? That's the only thing with the zoom wheel on this. For some reason, when you zoom in or out, your background map, stuff goes kind of weird. So you still have to go to your keyboard and mouse if you really want to zoom accurately and not have that happen. We're going to do that. All right, then we need this. I hear the dogs barking. They're about to get kicked out, so we'll have trouble coming in a moment. All right, we need a wall there for the secret door. Let's escape out. I need to add an escape key on this thing. Let's take a look. I'm going to do that. All right, where is it? It's the pen tablet software. Express keys. Yeah, we need escape. So escape. Let's see if that works. So we start to do something. Let's do this. Oh, we go, oops, we didn't mean to do that. Escape. Bam. Oh, we did it again. All right. We'll need to put bars there for a wall. And make that go into there. Do a circle. And again, it's going to give you those weird corner shadows that I hate. But there's nothing you can do about that. And I don't even believe there's a way to turn shadows off in this thing. Let's take a look. Preferences. So we turn shadow off on walls in general. Let's see. Let's see what that does. If that's something we just learned after running this for a while. Nope, see, the shadows are still there. You can't turn the shadows off in the building tool. That's a feature they need to add. I mean, I'm not going to bitch and moan, except I just did. But it's a feature they really need to add. All right. Yep, I hear the dogs out there. They got ejected. Don't feel sorry for him either. What the fuck? Why? Why? Look at this. That one, what about going this way, backwards? Nope. I guess that's going to be a square room. And if you're the kind of person, which normally I would be, but you know, the rounded walls don't matter that much to me, mostly because the shadows annoy me worse than not having a rounded wall. But if you're the kind of person that worries about the map being true to whatever this bozo drew, then that's going to bother you. And, you know, you shouldn't let it bother you. In the end, these players are going to be in the room, if you're lucky, for a few seconds, if they even come in the room. And you need to think about that when you're making maps for your players. How long are they going to spend in this room that I am mentally fixating over? And if the answer is hardly any time at all, then you're wasting your time and don't need to fixate on the fact that the corners are square instead of round. I mean, they're rounded enough. So we'll need to draw a bridge there, which will be... Honestly, it'll just be drawn. We won't create walls for it. And seriously, I mean, when you're doing maps and stuff, you have to ask yourself that question. How long are they going to be in this damned room that I'm fixating over? And there are entire section of maps that you and I both know that they'll probably never even go into. So, you know, don't worry about it. Just have fun, draw your map, make it as nice as possible. Don't over fixate on it. I mean, honestly, these are not great maps that they did in the first place, so they could have invested in maps that had some detail to them and actually matched the description. I mean, they used to. Christ, I remember 4th edition days when we had our maps that we got for encounters. Or what was it called back then? I forget what the hell it was called. But we would get these awesome packs with really nice maps. And the details were perfect on them. They even sent out with every set of maps packets of cardboard punch-out tokens that were perfect for the room and design. And, you know, then they got cheap. I mean, that was all free. We didn't pay for any of that as DMs. And considering, you know, I mean, the number of people that we brought into the game, it's little enough to send that stuff out to your players or your DMs who have been dedicated, you know, throw them a fucking bone. But they got greedy. I mean, there's a reason I'll probably never go back to a store to play D&D again. My days of organizing D&D are done. Yeah, you figure the store that I organize at, or did up until COVID, now, there is no D&D to organize. Some of my tables are doing their stuff playing from home using virtual tabletops. I imagine some of the groups are crazy enough to go out and get together and spread COVID. But, I won't go back. And the thing is, I've done that for Christ, all of 4th edition, ever since 5th edition was in beta. Um, Years. Probably, what, 9, 10 years now? And, the guy that owns the store, he always acts like a jackass to everybody, including the DMs. So, comes a point, throw the towel in. My towel is thrown. All right, so have we gotten all of the... Yeah, we have. Wow. We have gotten all of the floor done. Now we're going to start cutting the cave and finish that lava pit zone. And hopefully nothing gets totally screwed there. Let me close out the pen tablet thing. Say okay, and saved. Now we need to go in. Oh, we're not done. This is why you zoom out. You zoom out and take a look. Like right there, we missed a hallway. Little hallway. What else? All right, we need some doors here. So we need the walls. And your doors won't attach without a wall to hang on to. Let's show you that. I'm just going to use a generic door. So see right there, it automatically snaps to that. Here, there's nothing to attach to. So you've got to put a wall in where that door will not drop. So we're going to go through here. Let's look for any walls and doors that need a wall to exist. And then we'll finish drawing out that stuff there. Yep, there's a door. Two more doors. This right here, and we do have a rubble door. Let's see if it's showing up down here. Never remember if I have the correct asset in to have it. So you've got a couple of options. You can put in a threshold, right? Or we can sit here and find the rubble door. We're not going to place a door, but we're going to put the wall there so we can do it later. But those are both broken doors. I mean, that's how they represent broken doors with this guy's mapping style. So you just have to know that. Let's take another look. Now, like right here, We're going to do this. They always block that off because that's to the so-called extended dungeon. In other words, if you want to like write your own extended dungeon, you can. We're going to put a portcullis here, if it'll drop. Is anything going to drop there? There we go. That'll drop there. We're not going to block light. We're going to put that there. And let's see if there are any others that we need to do for that. That's just a passageway to the extended dungeon. This one needs the same thing. So they can look down the hallway and go, gee, we wish we could go there. And they can't. I mean, I've said this for a while. You would have to be... And here, let's show you something. So this is... Let's say somebody's walking down the hallway, right? They're going to be able to see down here. They just won't be able to go past it. That's, you know, your light source. And that's how the walls will work. Because this will all carry over. Into the virtual tabletop. Any other extended dungeon passageways? We're going to zoom in one more time, take a look for doors. Like I said, we're going to put basic stuff in. I'm not going to get overly detailed on this map until much later when I am building it out for my group. Somebody asked me to do this, and if it's one of those things where it's somebody like, can you do this for me? Yeah, probably, but it's not going to be super detailed until I need the map. And I also have to say, it is my 23-year-old son asking me to do this after I gave him the software so he could do it on his own. And no, if anybody says anything, no, he doesn't have a job. He graduated college. He has not been able to get a job since because of COVID hitting right after he graduated. And so, you know, he could spend a little time making his own map. Just a little time. Especially, he hasn't done it yet. I'm waiting for it. Especially if he ends up saying, well, I don't like this or that on it. Well, then make your own map. I think he's smart enough to know if he says, I'll be like, okay, don't ask again. Make it exactly how you want it. So this is where it's going to be like dangerous. Did it do it? It did it. See what it just fucking did? It erased those walls. So we're going to have to come in and trick it again. So let's see what we can do. How much of this we can get done without a fatal error like that. right, that worked. I have a feeling this is going to be the straw that breaks the back. Oh, that was lucky. This right here is the problem. So we're going to snap this right here like this. We're going to leave that just like that. And I bet that solves my problem. And I think this is going to end up having to be... We're going to have to figure out how they get into that zone. Honestly, I think that it's just a broken wall and it falls down. So let's do this. That works. Works so far. We're going to cut as much in as we can. Let's take snap off. All right. Awesome. Let's make sure we didn't break anything. I don't want to say anything, but I'm not going to say anything. Let's see if this works. We're going to do little pieces at a time. Generally, that'll tell you where your breaking points are. And you just have to guess what'll bring it in. That's going to have some overlap points. We're not going to delete any of them, though. We'll live with whatever stupid shadows decide to pop up. So you got some weird shadows, but they're showing up outside the wall. All right, we have one more little piece down here. You never know. Let's take a look at what we have here. When you do this, every single point on the map is moving. So you have to choose when you're going to edit points because you always have a chance that it's going to cause a crash. Right now we've got a spinning wheel on a big map like this. Small maps, you don't have a problem. Big maps, you can. And we haven't saved in a while. We've been really cavalier about this today. All right, we saved. We're feeling pretty good about this right now. All right, so here is where we switch tools. So now we're going to go to our cave brush. This will dig out a cave. So I usually just pick some random color. And then we start drawing. So, I mean, it's... When you do this, it's not going to turn out perfect, because it kind of randomizes the walls as it goes. So you just have to accept what it does. And you can use a smaller brush, and we're going to do that once we get this mostly done, to get this to be a little bit closer to the lines. But again, I mean, it's not imperative. So like right there, it's going to be a little outside. That's fine. I mean, they're basically going to just pass through here. Now we're not putting the expanded dungeon thing there. We're going to kill it right there. Now these little passageways, they'll end up being just about that small. They just won't end up being exactly as drawn. And that's fine. I kind of like the randomness that this tool adds to these caves. So let's get our outline in. And there are two ways to do it. You can outline with the smallest brush. You have to remember, it's going to brush out a bigger area than will actually be open for your players, because you need room for the walls. So we don't have the little thing there. It's fine. Let's see. That's a little off, but that's fine. I mean, if you really want to be exact, you could do what we did with those lava pit zones. Use that, and then you'd have to lay down a different texture for the cave floor. Or just go with the randomness and make a cave. I mean, it's a very small section of the dungeon. It's basically, I mean, there's probably going to be a fight in here. It's not going to be major. That's their exit. So let's take the trace image off. Nobody's ever going to know the difference. Know what I mean? It looks fine. So that's our basic outline. So we're not going to furnish or look at details on the rooms. we are going to put in things that show up on this basic map. So let's look for stuff like our steps. This is... We'll have to look at a description there. There's a secret door, which means we missed a wall. So there's that. Here's steps. Now, there are a couple of ways to do the steps. I kind of like, and I'm not sure if I pulled this object in. Kind of like this. So it's kind of an overlay, and the stairs will look like your floor. So you take that off, and there's your stairs going up. So personally, I think it's nice because it matches your dungeon. All right. Now they've added some tools in here that are nice. So let's go ahead and do this. I think we're going to need to go bigger. Let's go to see what 60 does. There we go. Up to level 14. And these are all outside of what they will be able to see with line of sight. So this is down to level 17, right? Let's take this down to 50. I think we need to take the size down here. Let's do this. $16. And we don't put, I generally don't put numbers in for the rooms. It's up to you. In Foundry, I can drop the room descriptions directly from the module. And that takes care of it. All right, so we know this is a lava pit. We need to use the path tool. Now what we really need is cliff tool in a cave. So let's take snap off. We want it to transition in and then no transition out. Actually, we're going to transition out. That's fine. At least on this section. So let's see. This is one of those things where I end up doing it like 2 or 3 times. You know, until we're happy with it. We're not happy with it. See, that's also part of the problem. The transition does not work awesomely. It ends up being really elongated over the entire thing. So, see how it did that there? It's just one of those things. You've really got to play with it. Let's see. What is this one? Cliff Cave Thin. Cliff Cave No Shadow. So I think what we're going to have to do, and I'm not super thrilled with this option, is this. We'll bring it in here like that. We're going to bring it in here like that. Then we're going to take out this. And you got to be careful because while that end worked really nice, this one didn't play as nice. So there we've got that. I feel like I think what we can do is this. All right, so that gets us that far. Then we're going to do it the opposite direction. So that gets that one done. And then we're going to do this in between to kind of cover up where that doesn't look good. All right. So that's one done. Let's take a look at it. We need something right in here. And we need to get rid... I think we need to use the one that doesn't have a shadow. That is the no shadow. Bastard! All right. There we go. I think I like that better. Then this one, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to go like this. Then, I think what we're going to do is do a whole bunch of overlaps. Take a look at something. So we go that way. What I don't like is that little top edge there. So this is what we need to do then. We have the right idea. See, there's the top edge of what will be like a cliff. And then the way we'll fix that is going to be this. We're going to go let's do another one. Like that. Then we'll do this one under. No, we won't do it in that direction, no. What just happened there? So we keep doing these layers underneath. God damn it. There, no. All right, that looks good. Now we just have to do the same thing on the other side. And the camera froze. Awesome. All right, so we're going to stop here since the camera's being a bitch. And we're going to finish this up offline. When we're done, we'll upload it to the Patreon. Like I said, it's not going to be furnished, but it'll be a very base map and it'll be free. So thanks again for watching, everybody. We're going to call it here. We'll catch you next time.